Are you currently or have ever felt overwhelmed by your finances and wondering how can you take control of your money? If so, I submit to you that you're not alone and this is a common occurrence that a majority of people experience from time to time. Many people struggle with managing their income and expenses, but the good news is that budgeting can transform your financial situation. In today's video, we're going to dive into simple steps that will help you take control of your finances and build a secure financial future. By the end of this conversation, you'll have a clear understanding of the importance of making budgeting a part of your daily life. Plus, don't forget to join us tomorrow morning for tomorrow morning's webinar, Make Money Mastery 2024, where we'll go even deeper into mastering your finances. Make sure you stay with us until the end of this video because we'll be announcing an exciting giveaway. The only way to find out how to win is to be present throughout until the end. So let's get this journey started so that we can start setting the condition for the financial future that everybody is looking forward to. Now, the interesting part about this conversation is that this conversation comes on the heel of last week's conversation, which was all about confidence through your identity. So I want to start off with this first question right here because I am curious, based upon your understanding and interpretation, is there a correlation between my perceived identity and my financial acuity?
Let me go look up acuity.
Wait,
I love your honesty, man. Dude.
it was just the announcement for me. That was it.
I wanted to let y'all know why I didn't answer.
Well, when you let us know, when you find out, just put it out there for everyone.
All right. Okay.
You got it?
Yep. I'm about to put it in the chat for everybody to see. So it says the ability, this was just one. Hey, where'd it go? It says the ability to hear, see, or think accurately and clearly. Absolutely, yeah. There's definitely a correlation. Yeah. On a simple yes or no, it would be yes. Now, as I'm thinking about it, if I'm looking at myself as a certain way, yeah, it would be tied to my financial acuity, 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 acuity. Did you hear me play it on the thing? Look, bro.
Wait, man, let me mute my microphone.
Look, hey, I learned a long time ago in PODC. Look, if I don't know something, remember we had them big old stack of books and you like learn how to research? I'll research something in a minute. Cause I want to know.
Man, I had to look and see my fan though, because it got hot in here all of a sudden.
look, bro. Yeah. I think if I'm looking at myself a certain way, I think it's definitely tied to that because the way I'm looking at it is I see people who think a certain way and then they spin, right? So they may look at themselves as, you know what? I've heard people say, you know, sometimes you got to look the part or fake it until you make it, right? And then I see people with, you know, really nice cars and stuff like this. And they're thinking behind these really nice cars sometimes is that their perceived identity or their thought process is that, you know, I deserve this. I should have this because of who I am. You know, I owe it to myself that even though I work at McDonald's part-time, I should have a BMW, like, and it should be at least a 5 series, you know, and they will go and spin and it messes, not it messes with, but it causes problems financially, you know, because you're making hamburger money, but you want a filet mignon. It don't work like that. You got to eat hamburger or hamburger helper or manwich, you know, You got to figure out how to eat your ground beef a different way before you can learn how to eat higher cuts of beef. So that's my correlation. Took us a long time to get here. Sheesh.
No, you good.
Hey, yeah, you. I would agree with I would say yes, because you have a lot of people who they don't even realize that they have a poor person's mentality. They have a broke mentality. They even speak it on themselves. Say because what they're doing is they're taking other people's view of money or other people's view of status and putting it on. If I don't have that, I got to be broke. I can't have this. Not having a sense of wealth that hey, I have a peace of mind before even I have a piece of change. And when you're looking at their vision for their money, it's more or less to look the part versus to actually be the part.
But you said something interesting just now. You said, what'd you say, broke mindset, something like that?
Yeah.
What, like,
Poor man mindset.
yeah.
See, a broke person's mindset is just like Uncle's talking about, where you will tell yourself, I don't have it, I don't have it, I don't have it. Then you go get credit cards. That's why those are people that get the credit cards, and people happy to give them credit cards, because what they're gonna do come these holiday seasons, they're gonna be up in there swiping, and then they're gonna have all this debt, and then they're gonna say, okay, we paid off a little bit, then they're gonna give them a couple more thousand, then they're gonna max that out, and then they're gonna think they're going forward because I made my payment for 6 months straight. You paid $60 on a $10,000 credit card, so you going backwards because the mindset says that I'd rather look the part than actually be the part. I don't necessarily have to know about money, because as long as I have this plastic, I have money. As long as we used to write checks, as long as I had this book of papers that I can sign my name on and get money, I have access to money. So instead of having actual money or things that you can, accumulate to gain, you rather spend your money on things that depreciate instead of appreciate.
So what I'm hearing you say is having credit cards is a bad thing.
No,
Okay. Just wanted to
no.
make sure.
That's the only way you get 850. I'm telling you, the only way you get 850, you got to have at least 4 credit. Well, that's another thing. We probably
I'm not disputing that. I just want to make sure, like, for the person who hears this, right?
You need discipline is what you need.
Okay. I love it. I love it. Yeah, so I'm agreeing with everything you guys say. There is definitely a correlation between my perceived identity and my financial acuity. Make no mistake about it, there are exceptions to the rule. But I think a lot of times what we do is we try to hang our hat on the exceptions and not look at the actual rule itself. Are there people out there that are born in a great situation? Absolutely. Did their parents set them up for success by giving them things and leaving them things? Absolutely. But is that the norm? Well, when you look at us, no, it is not. So at the end of the day, hats off and, hand clap to those people who were born into those situations. But for everybody else who still got to figure it out and pave their way and who want to change their dynamics so that they can be the ones that actually leave an inheritance for their children's children, then, we got to look at the rule and understand the rule and understand how to get beyond where we are, because if not, we're going to end up being like George and Weezer trying to get, was it George? Yeah, trying to get their piece of the pie. So I really wanted to start off with that because, again, that brings last week's conversation into this conversation. And I love it because at the end of the day, how I perceive myself equates to how I behave, what I put out in the atmosphere, how I express myself. Well, those things equate to how I engage or establish relationships. Make no mistake about it, money is a relationship. If you have never heard that before, you heard it here. The way that you interact, perceive, engage, spend, attract, whatever, it is a relationship. And if you do not have a positive, healthy relationship with finances, then you're going to always find yourself existing in the ebbs and flow on top of the ebbs and flow that life presents to you. So that's kind of like how that looks. So listen, if you're joining us, again, welcome. Go ahead and hit the like button wherever you are. Again, if you're on Facebook, Instagram, X, LinkedIn, it doesn't matter. Go ahead and hit the like button because the algorithm likes, and so do we. Now, okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna get to y'all comments, I promise, because y'all is lighting it up already, and I appreciate it. So the first point that I want to bring out is shift your mindset and look at budgeting as a lifestyle, not a task. I'm gonna say it again. Look at budgeting as a lifestyle, not a task. So first question I want to ask here is, what are some common mental barriers people face when transitioning from viewing budgeting as a one-time task to embracing it as a consistent lifestyle?
Um, I think for a lot of people, it's the perceived value, right? So for a lot of people who have never budgeted before, they they don't see the value in it. They've never experienced it before. So it's easy to set up a budget for a couple of days or for a month. You know what I'm saying? But you're not used to that. You know what I'm saying? So, and then are you really, I mean, for some people, they may see the value in it after 30 days, but I think for a lot of people, is if they're not consistent with it or if they've never done it before, they don't really understand the benefit of it. Like when you budget and you can see, oh man, I can do this, I can do this, I can have this paid off. That's your roadmap. You get to see the end goal. You could say, all right, I got this amount of debt. I want to get to this goal. The good thing about finances in a lot of cases is you can kind of create a roadmap to get to your goal at the end, you know. But if you've never done this before, I think it's very hard and very challenging at first. And like I said, I think the answer to this question is that people's perceived value in the budget itself.
I think my grandmother used to say, anytime we had some money, because oh, can you take me to the store? Can we go do this? Can we buy this? She used to tell us that you act like you what she used to say, somebody like you got a pocket with a hole in it, because your money just flying out, or whatever she used to say. Because once you get money, it's like you don't want limits on yourself, because that's what a budget does. A budget caps you out and what you can do, and you looking at it like, well, I can do it more because I have this, and now your eyes get bigger, and so now I want to buy 3 pair of shoes this month instead of one, just because I can. Instead of saying, let me put this aside for a rainy day. Let me make sure I pay myself first, not pay myself so I can spend money, but pay myself for the long haul. So that's one of those. The barrier is, it's a mental barrier. Think that I'm missing out on something.
I like that. And that kind of goes. I'm gonna tie what you said into what I'm just gonna call you the journey, because that's the journey said lack of control, and I agree. I want to throw in there, in conjunction with everything that you've been saying. You look at a number of different things. You got, lack of control. You not necessarily understanding how to put your needs over your wants, your emotions, driving a train whenever you're going through some particular turmoil, which is a huge one, because there is, what is it? Shop therapy. Shop therapy is a thing, and when people get hyper emotional, they tend to go shopping to kind of calm their nerves and relax themselves, right? All them shoes and hats over there. Um, Also, when you look at it, trying to keep up with the Joneses, as so many have already said in the chats already, right? Keeping up with the Joneses. Roland got a brand new pair of J's, so I need to go out and get them J's too. And you know how they say in North Carolina, what is it, Carolina blue? They ain't sky blue, they Carolina blue. So you got to
Carolina blue out here.
yeah, you got to get the Carolina Blue Jordans when they first come out. And what they don't necessarily realize is that they're priced for those people who cannot control those urges, right? Another piece I add to it, in conjunction with what you guys say, is delaying self gratification, right? That is a huge one. Wanting to satisfy how I feel or how I want other people to perceive me, like somebody else said in the chat, right? We dress to impress other people. We drive to impress other people. We live to impress other people, simply because we want their perception of us to be a thing. And we want your perception to say, oh, you must be blessed. you must be doing good in life. You must be doing all those things. And at the end of the day, all of that is is just vanity and vexation of the spirit, right? Just because you want people to see you a particular type of way does not necessarily mean that they see you that way. Go ahead,
Oh,
brother. You look like you itching, bro.
yeah, because I think you just attacked me and Unc when you called it vanity, because I just bought a shoe closet to put my shoes in, and I'm gonna share that with Unc. I ain't even sharing it with y'all, but yeah,
It's
because
just
but I agree with
vices.
you.
It's
Huh?
just vices at the end of the day. Some people
Right,
buy books.
everybody.
Some people smoke and drink. Some people buy shoes. I think most people got their thing. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
but
So,
you still, even with your, as you say, vices, you have to be able to control it versus it control you. Because
yeah.
once it starts to control you, it's like, hold up now, like how many doggone pair of J's can you get? Like that's that's what my granddaughter told me. She like, how many fours you want? I'm like, what are all the thunders coming out?
As
I'm like,
many as I like.
like I can
I
afford it.
can
Then
buy.
she thinking about her. Well, I
There
only
you go.
you don't make the money.
I can
Unc,
afford it,
Unc, you ain't helping, bro. You ain't helping. I'm just saying.
bro. Cause I got a bunch of shoes
Right.
and
But
hats.
right, but what I'm saying is, and trust me, I understand exactly what you're saying.
Yeah,
But for a younger person, right, who
Right.
is just starting life out, when they see people like you, they see
yeah,
people rolling things of that nature with a bunch of shoes, bunch of hats. And I'm just using that because you said it.
yeah.
When they see that, that's what that becomes their goal in life. Their goal is to
Mm,
get things, right? Because I want people to see me a particular type of way. And that's one of the issues that we run into when it comes down to living a life that is consistent with budgeting as opposed to looking at it as a one-time task. In fact, in that when you're in that mindset, you really look at budgeting as a chore more so than anything. Like, oh my God, I got to budget again this month. You ain't budgeted since last year, but you're talking about again this month. So it's just stuff like
mhm.
that. Man, can we bring up Lisa's message about mixed use credit card? Because I thought this was a good one. This kind of goes back to what Roland was talking about. Mixed use credit card usage to build credit is the world system to get to the goal of 800 to 850. And I like the fact that she said that because at the end of the day, she is absolutely right. there is there is a mindset that exists. So the concept is that people, and I hate using these terms, so please don't judge me for it. Poor people dress to look like they're rich. Middle class people, they get credit to get things that they can't afford. And then rich people literally walk around dressed like they don't have any money. And that's really a mindset. And that's one of the biggest things that we need to understand. When you're rich, you don't necessarily need credit, right? And I get it when it comes down to buying cars, when it comes down to buying houses. Most people can't go to the car lot and spend cash money. But then the other side to it, do I necessarily need to go buy the 2025 Range Rover that's coming out, or am I buying it just so I can look a particular type of way so Garfield can actually like it? Interesting. What does the panel think about the first principle of finances, and that's the relationship with the person and money? How does one view that? It's a good question. I love when he show up.
I think how you see yourself is usually how you see your money. And nobody, I can lie to everybody else and say that, oh, I'm frugal and I'm this, that, and the other, just because I don't have the money. But once you get the money, the real you gonna show up. And that's why discipline doesn't start with money. Discipline doesn't start with marriage. Discipline starts, that's why you got to discipline them young, because you can't train a teenager after you've let him destroy everything from birth. Once he get a teen, then he's already set in his ways, and a lot of us are set in our ways. So I think when you talk about principles of financing, uh, I think the principles of financing are biblical principles. Those are biblical principles. You place this aside. You pay towards this. You only use a certain amount, and I let each individual determine what that is when it comes to your expenditures. You shouldn't be paying half your money on your house. you still working backward. You're living above your means. You have to live where you are and not try to keep up with the Joneses. And so when we view how I view money, I think what helped me was when I was younger, I had child support. Child support made me focus on my money because I'm like, okay, I don't want to live here, but I know I can't live there. And this is already going out. So it forced me. So every time we got a raise, I didn't say, oh, I got more money. No, I took the money that was a raise, set it aside.
What you got on?
I'm not 100% sure I understand what the first principle of finance is, but I'm assuming based off of this that it would be the relationship between person and money. So I'm kind of answering it based off of that. So, and if it says how does one view money, if he's asking me, um, in particular, I view money as a resource to do what I want to do and to get my time back. That's how I view it. I view it as something that we all have to have, but really for me, it's a resource. What can I do with this to get my time back? You know, do I want to take my resources or my money and pay for somebody else to cut my grass so I can have an extra 2 or 3 hours every week? Do I want to pay for somebody to wash my vehicle so I don't have to wash it and spend those 2 hours washing the vehicle? Can I pay for somebody to come in here and clean this house so my wife don't have to clean it? You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I view. That's kind of my relationship with money and how I view it. And then what could I do to get my time back? And how can I use my resources to live the best life that I can on my level? So that's kind of how my relationship and how I view money.
Yeah, I like that. So generally, the first principle is about recognizing that we don't necessarily own anything. Everything belongs to the creator. That's for starters. Whatever I have, I am supposed to be a good steward of. Secondly, I'm sorry, thirdly, I want to make sure I'm getting it right. I should be content, right? I should not have an obsession to just collect things. So things should not be my goal. And then lastly, it is generosity, right? So how do I view generosity when it comes down to it? So taking all of those things and putting them together, I believe when it comes down to this particular question, I view it as the principle. If I don't view it as the principle, then it is very likely that I would take my perspective of finances and put it in the wrong place. Money, I think Garfield said it. Money is a tool. It is not a goal. It should never be a goal. And when we make money a goal, now what we've done is we've elevated it above where it's supposed to be at. And all of us, I think all of us can relate to this. When we were younger, the goal was to make this amount of money, right? But then if that's the goal, what happens when you reach that goal? Or you just reach another goal, then you just do another goal. So in essence, it becomes a self-licking ice cream cone to where it's never satisfied. You just keep chasing that ultimately. But you have to have something with meaning, something with purpose, and then money literally becomes a subset of it. Now I just kind of gave you a snapshot on what tomorrow morning is going to be like, but that is really how I would respond to that question. So, how do I view money? It is 100% a tool to where all I do is use it to plant seed. And if I consistently plant seed, I don't ever worry about the harvest. The harvest will just keep coming. I just keep focusing on planting seed. So, great question, bro. And I hope we answered it. Uh-oh, with how one see money affect how they approach budgets and other financial foundations.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know,
Yep.
how I saw my money back in the day was I saw money at a certain way, so there was no budget, you know? And then, so there was no, in talking about other financial foundations, there was no thought about, hey, go and learn more about money. This is something that you use almost on a daily basis. So why is it that we don't know more about money and about finances and about resources? So that's the stuff, that I didn't know, you know what I mean, early on back in the day. So, would how someone sees money affect how they approach budgets and other financial foundations? 1,000,000%.
And that's why I think the Black culture has been taught bad by the church about money, because the church says, bring me your tithes and your offerings and all that other stuff. The church will say that
That's
to
Roland
make,
Walker, 555 555.
hey,
They're gonna be after you.
because they say it
How
to
about them
guilt.
people's eyes rolling?
If we want to go there, we will, but this ain't the show for that. But since we talking about money, though, because the church didn't teach finance or financial responsibility, but they want you to take 10% of your earnings and this, that, and the other, and all these other monies and give. And I've even heard you have to dig a hole in order for God to fill a hole. And you have people who aren't financially responsible who dig that hole but can never come out of that hole, and then they're in a sense they're guilted into it. It's like you're guilting them into staying in debt, because they will never overcome this as long as they paying that, expecting a blessing, not realizing that when you have money, your first responsibility is to make money. It's not to it's not to give to you so that you can, I'm sowing a seed and all that. No, I have to sow a seed here first, so that now when I have my seeds grow, now I have overflow and I can give. Not so that I can go in debt and I can give grudgingly. I'm mad. Oh, I ain't got it, but I'm going to give it so Sister Mary won't say nothing. No, that's irresponsible.
I totally agree. Totally agree. I think from the standpoint of this question, would how one see money affect how they approach budgets? Absolutely, because money make decisions in their household. That's one of the biggest mistakes that we've ever made. We allow money to be our decision maker instead of being the decision maker, and then allow money to fund it. When you feel like you have a lack of resources, the resources do the deciding for you. Are you going to go on vacation this year? It all depends on how much money we got left over. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, going back to what Roland says, what most people do is they take their check and they just become a pass through. Check comes to me, check goes to the bill collector, right? So at the end of the day, once I give those people their money, once I do all this other stuff that I'm supposed to do, then you got what I want. So I'm gonna go get what I want. And then after I get what I want, I'm probably looking at the calendar again and counting down to the next paycheck. So it's two things that we got to look at. Number one, if resources is your decision maker, then your decision maker as being resources, it is now in control of you. That's for starters. Secondly, if I am living in lack, then I will view everything in lack. Therefore, I view budgeting as a thing of control. And I will literally set the conditions and I will say it as you're trying to control me by telling me to budget. No, I'm trying to help you, because at the end of the day, budgeting gives you awareness of where your money is allocated. That's kind of like the definition of budgeting, right? The awareness that you need to understand the allocation of your resources. And when we don't properly allocate our resources, then again, we're just a blind pass through. So, great question. You're absolutely right. It is a tool. We kind of talked about that a few minutes ago, but great question. I love it. What is the correct definition of budgeting? I just kind of touched on that. So budgeting really is kind of like it is a way of you being aware of how to allocate your money, but it's also a tool that you can use to set the conditions for what you want to do in the future. So it is a number of ways that you can use it. You can use it in a proactive manner, like setting the conditions for the future, or you can use it as a reactive manner to pull your way out of debt. But I love that question. I'm sorry. Anything you guys want to add to that one?
Well, I like, because everything you said was that word that Unc was going through in the beginning. Because when I seen acuity, I'm medical, so I thought, we used to do a visual acuity test. How far can you see? At what distance can you see this, that, and other? So you have acuity as all about vision, And that's exactly what Coach was just talking about. You have to have a vision for your money, know where it's going, know what's staying, know when you have a vision for your money and you can see every little penny, every little drop of it, not to control it, but to just know where it is so nothing catches you off guard, then you have a more sense of relaxation about you when it comes to financial things because nothing's coming up that's going to surprise you.
But it only works when you have the right mindset. Because again, if my mindset ain't right, I'm looking at how much money I got left over to buy these J's. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So that's the other part. Uncle was about to add something just now.
Yeah. To me, the definition of a budget is the the point A to point B. And what I mean by that is if you look at budgeting as a map, right? And in your map, you along the way you have different stops. You have rent, you have mortgage, you have shoes, you have hats, you have cigars, whatever it is you like to buy with your money, car payments, insurance, kids college, all of these are stops along the way in that big budgeting map, right? So what you do is with your budget is you saying, hey, I need to get from point A to point B. All right, so how do I get there? All right, so I go by the mortgage the first of the month, and I drop off the rent, and then I drive over here and I save some money for this, and then I drive over here and I do this until you eventually get to your goal. So that's what the budget is. It's just the map that's showing you your direction and your path that you're headed to with your finances.
I love it. I love it. Listen, you guys are doing awesome. Great question. Keep them coming because as you can see, we are here for all of them. That being said, let's move on to the next question. Okay. There we go. No, 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 no. We're still up one more. Adapting. There we go. How does adopting budgeting as a lifestyle influence other areas of your life, such as stress levels, relationship, long-term goals?
I think if we can't label everything budgeting, but I think you have a set of standards to live by, to go by. But I think you kind of walk into when you're talking about relationships and things like that, when you try to hold people to how you think and all, you asking yourself to be in a house full of cats because nobody will probably ever meet your expectations. I think you get to know people just like you got to get to know yourself with money. Somebody had said something about does budgeting work for everybody or something like that. No, because some people's budget, they gonna put a bunch of junk in their budget. They gonna allow themselves the freedoms to splurge on a lot of things that's unnecessary. So if you have a lot of unnecessary habits where with your money, you'll have a lot of unnecessary habits in your life, period. So I don't necessarily know if that'll you group those all together like that. I think discipline would, but not necessarily budget.
I think initially when people adopt budgeting it's for a couple of different reasons. One, they've come across some hard times and they like, darn it, man, I got to figure out where my money going every month. Or, it's usually sometimes it's a tragic event or they just may not like how their life is going or maybe they want to purchase something. Right. For any of those reasons, it usually means that when you come up with a budget, you have to put parameters on your relationships, and that may affect your stress. So what I mean by that is, hey, me and Roland hanging out all the time. We always chilling. Me, Roland, the coach, we go out every weekend and we drinking, right? Now, how's this going to affect the relationship? Well, hey, look, bro, I can't go out this weekend. Hey, man, you trying to go to, bro? I can't go. I'm on a budget right now. I can't be spending all my money at the strip club and at the bowling alley and at the bar every weekend. Like I got to do something else. We got to do something else. I can't be spending my money on that. So now rolling them like, oh man, Joe, who we think he is? He acting all stuck up. You know how we are in our community. I'm just saying, not saying rolling, I'm talking about the behavior. So now that's affecting my relationship with Roland and my boys because they want to go and hang out, but I can't. You know what I mean? They may not understand that. So now how this may affect my stress level is now my relationship with my boys may not be what it is. You know what I mean? Or I'm stressed because I want to buy certain things, but I can't buy them because I have to stick to this freaking budget. You know what I'm saying? And but at the end of the day, you know, how it affects or how it influences that long-term goals is if you stick to it and you're consistent with it, you will get to your long-term goals. But along the way, sometimes your stress levels and your relationships are going to be affected by it. So that's my 2 cents.
Roland, you mentioned that we can't group all these together. Can you kind of expound on that, sir, before I respond to this?
I think when we look at how does adopting budgeting as a lifestyle influence other areas, I think you can, like the statement itself, if you have a budget, you already know what you can and can't do. But you need, I think Adrian said in there, you need the discipline, because some people say, well, this is my budget, and they so stern on the budget where they won't give themselves grace or give themselves room enough to do some things that are beneficial for them in the long run. That's like, I can have a budget, but then I can have a means to actually make some money, not just make some quick money, but I'm saying like a start up a business, or have an endeavor or a venture that's going to actually help me make more money, but it doesn't fit in my budget right now, but I can take from my savings. I can take, move over here. So I think when people look at the budget as brackets, like, hey, I'm stuck to this, and get so stern with the budget versus saying, okay, I still got to have some leeway where I'm thinking about making more money, and it may actually take me outside of my budget.
So, different perspective. I don't view it as that at all. I view it as a means that actually, like we talked about previously, allow us to see exactly what reality is for us. Then, understanding that, now we can be liberated as opposed to just doing something and then suffering the consequences later. So if I have a budget and then I get married to my handy dandy water bottle here, right? And my water bottle got a budget. Then we come together, we start comparing our budgets and see how they merge. We're living a lifestyle based upon budgets. You guys know, and for years it has been a big deal to where finances has been what within the top 5%, within the top five of relationships. I'm sorry, the top five of divorce. Actually, I think it's within the top three. The main reason for divorce is because people have issues when it comes down to seeing the same sight picture as far as finances are concerned. They like one another, but yet somebody has an unhealthy spending habit and they can't control it. So when it comes down to budgeting, I think budgeting removes the stress when it comes down to finances. Why? Because money is one of the things that people don't talk about before they get married. If there is a budget that we have, I promise you there's going to be a conversation about it. Because if budgeting is a lifestyle for me, then I guarantee that this has to be a discussion. If we don't discuss it, then I can't even agree that it's a lifestyle for me. So I think when it comes down to it, it should remove stress as it pertains to money. It should allow us to plan more effectively for the things that we want to do in the future. I think that's one of the biggest pieces, right? When we see what our monthly throughput looks like, then we can either set aside money or say that, well, instead of going in July, let's do this, let's go back and revisit it, you know, say December timeframe, and maybe we can do it next July. So we make decisions, we make decisions accordingly based upon what the budget is revealing to us, and we don't necessarily go outside of that. So I think for me, I think that's kind of like a more liberating way of looking at it. Because if I look at budgeting as a restrictive thing, then I'm missing the benefits of the budget. Just my thoughts.
I get that, but I also get what Roland is saying too.
Mm-hmm.
And what I understand is, I think the way you see it, Coach, is the way I see it, and I think the way Roland see it now.
Mm-hmm.
I think for a lot of people it is stressful because if you don't have a budget and your money is all over the place, um, and then you have to get you're undisciplined with your money, right? So that means you have to become disciplined, and discipline in an area where you have never had discipline at can be stressful. Because I remember when I first started on a budget, it was a little stressful to me. It was liberating when I saw it after time, once it really became the lifestyle. But and maybe that's where I'm at. But I think before it really became a lifestyle, it was a little stressful, because I'm just like, man, it ain't nothing left over. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how did I get by all of this time? It's like there's really nothing left over. You know what I mean? If I really do what I say I'm going to do, like there ain't an extra $200 for entertainment to take the family out to the movies. If I'm really wanting to, and now I'm speaking from early on in my 20s and honestly, in my 30s to mid 30s, and
Right.
but I got it together now. But I do think that it can, for some people, um, be initially stressful. But I think over time, once you start seeing the fruits of your labor, I really do think that you do see it from a different perspective. I see it totally different perspective now. I do see it as very liberating because I can see where my money going. I know I can get this, I can get this, I can get these shoes, I can get these hats, or I can't get these shoes until December because I said, you know what I mean? I bought too many pair last year,
Right.
but
Right.
you know, you
But
can.
then the question that I pose, is it really the budget that's creating the stress? Or is it my lack of discipline and decisions that I made prior to me budgeting that's creating the stress?
It's probably the lack of, yeah, the latter.
Right. And like you said, once you get to the point of budgeting and you realize what budgeting does for the long run, it takes the stress off of you because now
Absolutely.
what you're doing is lining things up. So that's just kind of like how I look at it and how, in my
Yeah.
perspective. Um, go ahead and bring his question on down. The brother be loading them up. I love it. All right. Is there a causation between one not being able to follow a budget and one not being able to honor commitments they made with themselves?
I think you can correlate anything. Um, Not necessarily. You don't have to be. I think you can. There can be a link, but not necessarily all the way. I think it could be where you could be undisciplined, or you could be like this in all areas of your life, or it could be just this one area of your life where you just may not have the information and really know how to budget. So it could just be a lack of information. So it could be both.
I was taught how you do one thing is how you do all things. So when if you that's why when I used to get new soldiers, I would have them go take a budgeting class before I have to go and fix a problem. I want them to understand the totality of their money before, hey, your wife ain't working, so you can't be out here. Y'all both got to be on board with this. So I think how you do one thing is how you do all things. If you're not a disciplined person when it comes to your finances, I wouldn't expect you to be disciplined when it comes to other areas of your life, because finances run the household. Finances run how you eat, how you dress. So, yeah, I would think if I see a person, like we talking about young people, new soldiers, when it was DPP, it's the safeguard now. It was the dumb private plan. They gave you that credit card, they gave you clothing and sales. And my daddy told me you can make a Nimrod by anything. All you gotta do is put lights on it or make it shiny. And that's what we did. We bought the newest stereo, Big Sur and Vega speakers. Two people in the same room. You got yours, I got mine, system and everything. And you want to go nowadays, they want to buy a new was that a Charger, a Challenger, or whatever. And you think, hey, I gotta market myself instead of making yourself more marketable.
I see that. I also back to, you know, my thing, the other side of that is, I remember being a private. I had or maybe E4, but I had a certain amount of discipline. Did my spit shine my boots, put my uniform on, starched it, pressed it, the uniform on. I mean, formation on time, everywhere I was supposed to be on time. Very disciplined. You know, other areas of my life I was disciplined, but when it came to my finance, I was undisciplined. But it was because I didn't have the information. Like, I didn't know about finances. So that's why I think that it's not always a link. Yes, I understand that if I'm like this in this area, I'm like, it's a possibility that I'm like that in a lot of areas. And I agree with you. I also think that there is the other side of it, and sometimes it's just lacking information. But the lack of information is still causing the undiscipline in the finances.
So, in other words, you're saying yes.
Am I?
Yes, you are. And I get what you're saying. I really do. And I think when you go back 15, 20 years ago, we could say lack of information. Even though
Mm-hmm.
the information was available, it was just
Yeah.
not book. And it was a little bit more deliberate to get that information. I remember reading years ago Real Estate for Dummies. So there are books out there that we could have gotten at the long time a long time ago that could have given us insight on certain things. Fast forward to today, only thing people got to do is go to the internet and start pecking a few keys. So now, if we're saying, and I'm not talking about you in general, but if I am using the lack of information as an excuse, it is only an excuse for you to stop asking me about the thing that you're asking me about. Or I just don't have the awareness that I need to go seek the information. But I don't think lack of information is an excuse that we can justifiably use anymore. Going back to his question, what I will say in conjunction with is that I like the fact that he put the commitment in there, because he said the commitment they have made with themselves. The commitment that they've made with themselves has nothing to do with their future, it has to do with today. That's why they don't necessarily hunt with the information they need for setting the condition for the future they desire. I am focused on today. I'm focused on the here and now. And you'll hear people say it. We need to live for the day and enjoy our life today, right? I'm living my best life. So the living your best life mentality puts people into the mindset like, hey, I work, I should be able to do this and do that and do this. And to Miss Verlene McCoy, I love that question, because that's one of the reasons why we budget, just in case the what if happens. I'll never forget my air conditioner went out. I'm not gonna lie, in the great state of Georgia, during the summertime, my air conditioner decided to die at 7 p.m. Man, let me tell y'all something. I was laid on the floor with as little clothes on as I possibly can, with every fan going on, rolling on the floor like a fat kid who just got finished eating a whole cake. It cost me $5,500 to replace that AC. Now, here's the thing: if it had happened to me 5 years ago, I would have got to throwing stuff all over the house and angry and mad and all kind of stuff. But that day, I recall specifically, I said to myself, I thank God that I am able to do it, because at the end of the day, I know that there are some people who don't necessarily plan for those things. So when we start looking at these particular situations to where the possible what if can happen, and we don't plan for those things to happen, so that when they happen, they don't knock us off, off our track, then trust me, something is going to happen. It's going to wake you up. And at the end of the day, we can use as many excuses as we want to, but it is what it is. So you know what? Whatever. I'm just saying. I'm serious, man. It was hot. It was hot, bro. I'm in there. I mean, windows open. I'm just laid on the floor, bro. So yes, great question, and thank you for that. Listen, man, we is it's 53 minutes already. Again, hit the like button wherever you are. Hit the like button, share it, because I'm telling you, I think this is gonna be. I think this is turning out to be very good. Okay, integrate budgeting into daily habits. So that said, gentlemen, what practical steps can someone take to seamlessly integrate budgeting into their daily routine without feeling overwhelmed? And what common challenges might they face in the beginning?
I think first and foremost, you need to map out how much money you make versus how much you spend. You need to see and put your bills up there and see where your money is leaving. Because if you're spending money frivolously on a bunch of mess, then it'll show. You need to see it. So I think practical steps is actually make a budget. Actually sit down and say how much is coming in, how much is going out, so you can see what you have to play with, and then you can say, okay, should I invest or should I be saving? Now you could start to make a plan after you sat down and put your money all on the table.
All right, I'm gonna go. I'm still writing down my thoughts. But I think I got half of it. Um, so what practical steps I put down? Create a routine to help develop some consistency, right? Um, because if you create a routine, I mean, it could be anything. Say, for instance, every evening when you get home from work, for after you did everything you need to do, you sit down for 30 minutes or 10 minutes and you look over something, or you make yourself conscious about it, because when you're starting something new, you don't always think about it all the time because you hadn't been thinking about it before. So I think that, if you create a routine or do it in the morning, the first time you wake up, you spend some time meditating and going over your budget. I think that is one way to help with that daily routine, is like strategically put it on the calendar or on a time. What I mean? Set a time to the routine. And then how and what are some common challenges they may face in the beginning is just being consistent with it. Like if you haven't been doing something, it's hard sometimes to start a new habit. We talked about it we just talked about that somewhere. Well, anyway, but yeah, I think those my two responses.
I love it. Yeah, we talked about habits on Tuesday. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, Step one, humble yourself. I'm gonna pause right there because let me be honest with you. When you first start budgeting, you're gonna try to mentally pinch a little something off. I ain't gonna put everything on my budget because I ain't gonna be you ain't gonna be honest with yourself. Humble yourself and ask for some help. Find somebody who you know has a higher financial acuity than you, right? And then ask them, say, hey, would you be willing to help me? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Sure, you can go look at YouTube videos. I know somebody already said that. Not here, but somebody who's listening, they said go look at a YouTube video. Sure, you can do that. But at the end of the day, who's going to protect you from you when you're making that budget? Sit down and talk to somebody who you know and trust that can help you budget. Hopefully, they are honest and straightforward and say, okay, what I know you're trying to hold on to something, but you need to put everything on the budget. You need to put all of your income and all of your outgoing on the budget. And then once we look at the balance, the monthly balance, then we may need to make some hard decisions. Netflix, delete. What's another one? Apple, what is it? Apple Music, delete. Hulu, delete. We may have to do that, right? We make so many, subscriptions to stuff that we use haphazardly whenever, whatever that looks like, right? There's some things that you may have to suffer it to be so right now. Go without for a time period so that you can get yourself to the point to where if at a later point in time you can bring it back to the table. So for me, I'm just going to say you got to humble yourself first, ask for some help, and be totally transparent. Create a budget and then stick to it. In the beginning, I'm just going to be completely honest. In the beginning, it's just like getting off drugs. So you need to have an accountability partner who holds you accountable to the budget that you created. If you don't have an accountability partner and it's just you, then you're going to say, well, I missed the budget up this month. I'll pick it up again next month. Oh, well, we're going to go to do this. We're going to do that. And no, you need somebody to hold you accountable for the thing that you actually said you want to do. Because at the end of the day, you might lie to yourself, but you may not necessarily lie to them. And then hopefully you'll get to the point to where you're looking for them to give you some type of positive affirmation simply because you're following your budget. Get the small wins first. And you have to set the conditions up for the small wins. That's how you get to the big fish.
Can I add something to this?
Sure.
Also, I want to say that people create budgets for different reasons, for so a lot of time what you include in your budget is going to be determined based off of, are you creating a budget for to manage your lifestyle, or do you have a bunch of debt that you're trying to pay off? And I think what you put in those budget and how much you allocate for each particular thing is going to different depending on which side of the fence you're standing on. If you are using your budget to pay off debt right now, you may not be able to afford some of those extra things, like Coach was saying, Hulu, Netflix, paying somebody to wash your car. Maybe now you need to wash it for yourself for a while. Where on the other hand, if you don't have debt and now you have a certain amount of money coming in every month, now you're looking at, how do I manage the budget and how do I manage the resources that I have now? So I think it's a difference. So like for me, I'm kind of on that side of the fence. So it's like um I'm managing and I can have some things. So I actually have $100 for Amazon budgeted into my account every single month, because I got a vice. You know what I'm saying? So at the end, at every month, I can spend $100 in Amazon. I like seeing packages come in the mail, so it's I can do that now. I couldn't do that 15, 20 years ago. I couldn't do it, but nowadays, and I just wanted to point that out that, even with budgeting and stuff like that, depending on what side of your fence, it's okay to reward yourself and do stuff for yourself too. Not overboard. But you can budget those things in there. If you want to go on a trip, well, maybe you cut out cigarettes for a certain amount of time to save up enough money for a bus fare or something like that. So it is what it is.
All right. Yeah, I like that. I definitely do. Um, so yeah, let's kind of press forward to the next talking point here. Prioritize financial health. And I think this is an important one because we like to talk about, psychological health and all that other stuff, but we don't talk a lot about financial health. So how can prioritizing financial health lead to improvements in other areas of life, such as mental well-being, relationships, and career goals?
Shoot, man, I speak from personal experience, man. When my finances got better, everything got better. You know what I mean? Stuff you don't stress about no more. You don't worry about this no more. Then people talking about, man, I used to live paycheck to paycheck. I'm like, man, I live paycheck to like Sunday. You get paid on Friday, man. By Sunday, I was done. Like everything was spent. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing left. A whole bunch of stuff going out, not a whole bunch coming in. But over the years, as I have, worked on financial management and controlling my finances a lot more and having a lot better financial health at 48, man, you don't stress about stuff. Like, the car break down, I don't care. You know what I mean? 'Cause I can get it fixed. If the AC go out, I ain't worried about it. I can get it fixed. So all of those in case things, you know what I'm saying? You kind of prepared a lot more for those things once your financial health is in is in good shape.
Man, exactly, because I think financial health and mental health go together for me,
Bruh.
because I was used to not having to rob Peter to pay Paul, having to go to the pawn shop, having to do all these things to make sure that the daily necessities were met when I was younger, because I was stupid with money. Because before I came in the military, come in quick, leave quick. Can't come into the military. Now I got to send this money home, but I still want to look the part, look like I got it. They got some new shoes, they got some new clothes or whatever in the PX. I'm still out there buying all that junk, and I know y'all seen the movie Baby Boy, but one of my favorite parts is for Ving Rhames when he said the N word, but it's a lot of it's two types of brothers in the world. He said those that get the guns and those that get the butter. He said the ones that get the guns, they buying stock, they buying houses, they buying land, things that appreciate. Those that buy the butters, that stuff, he said ain't worth a dang once it move off the lot. Once you buy it, it ain't worth anything. And we got a lot more people buying stuff like that and thinking, okay, I can buy these shoes for $400 off StockX, and I might be able to sell them after I wear them for so long. And it's like, nah, when you can buy actual stocks, not StockX, something that'll appreciate. So I think when you prioritize your financial, it brings peace. When you have, I ain't worried about somebody knocking at the door. I can answer the phone. I ain't got to know the number. I can answer the phone. I ain't worried about somebody saying, you owe us this money. It brings peace.
Bro,
Like,
me and my wife, we've been together 10 years. I don't think I can't remember one argument about money in this relationship. I don't think we had one in 10 years. Now, go to the past. When you talking about relationships, bro, there's a whole bunch of people out there. When you ain't got no money, living paycheck to paycheck, like your relationships all day long, your careers. I know I was telling somebody the other day, I know people that had, 17, 18, 19 years in the Army, but when it came time to retirement, I'm like, bro, you put the retirement in? No, man, why not, man? Man, my financial health bad. Pretty much what they were saying. Man, I just bought a new car for my wife, man. We just put in this pool, you know what I mean? And they scared to get out. So their career goals and stuff have changed a little bit when it comes to that too.
I like it. First, I want to kind of go back and just highlight financial health, because when something is healthy, it has the ability to bounce back. It has resiliency built into it. It functions the way it's supposed to function. Even when it gets hit by a storm, it has the ability to weather the storm. So at the end of the day, if I have my financial lifestyle set up the right way, then what ends up happening is that it has the ability to do all of those things. It has the ability to bounce back whenever we get hit by a storm. It has the ability to do the things that it's designed to do, which is ultimately about me accomplishing my goals and things of that nature. So when we look at this, prioritizing financial help, leading to improvements in other areas of my life, it will, simply because at the end of the day, those aspects of my life do not struggle because of it. Career goals, they're not necessarily dependent upon finances now, because it's the career goal specific. So if it is a career goal, I may need to take a lesser paying job for a particular type of experience, and I have the financial health to support that decision. And if I'm married, we talk about that beforehand, and then both people are like thumbs up because we're good. When it comes down to the relationship, the same thing. If one person cannot work, does not work, whatever that looks like, then the financial health of our family does not suffer because we planned enough to get to where we are. And these guys touch the mental well-being, and I agree 100%. Like if we're not financially stable, then you see people doing all types of things, working 2 and 3 jobs and things of that nature, not spending time with their kids, not spending time with their loved ones, right? They're robbing Peter to pay Paul. It's just all types of things that can exist within this. So I think this is a great question. I greatly appreciate everybody's response. So Michelle Ray's question: does financial health also involve giving loved ones and our children money every time they struggle?
Not no, but not. You know what come after that? Man, please. People can. I don't know. And I used to be one of them. I would feel guilty, like, oh, you got it, but dang, that's another bill. So if someone has become another bill for you, it's a strain on you. They have to do something. Like I can bail you. I give you 2 times. I ain't even giving the 3 strike rule. But after that, you got to make it happen. You got to do something for yourself to make it work. Friends, family, we got to have a serious sit down talk, because if you're constantly coming to somebody and you're grown, I'm not talking about kids, I'm talking about grown people, and you constantly need, now we have to, I got to dig into your finances. We got to sit down and have a talk. And grown people don't like having talks like that, especially ones that's constantly coming to you. So, no, big no.
Does financial health also involve giving loved ones and our children money every time? I think yes. Now, the type of financial health you have, I think, is the issue, right? Is your financial health good or is your financial health bad? I think what you can get into with this is you can create a whole bunch of negative financial health if you are always giving, 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 especially if you really don't have it to give, And then some would people say, well, I would be willing to give my last dime to my children or something like that, or my lover. I understand all of that. But like kind of Roland said earlier in the beginning of the show, you know what I mean? You got to get your cup filled up and have overflow before you can give to other people. So I think your financial health can be affected in a negative way if you're constantly giving to these people, especially if you don't really have it to give. Because all ground, bro, I am learning something right now. It's something going on right now. This is freaking spot on. I haven't been tested in something right now. And I think what it is what I'm about to say right now is that children or them loved one who always needing money, that may not be good ground that you are planting seeds in. So it may be affecting your financial health in a negative way.
I love both responses. My answer is cut and dry. No. Um, when it comes down to financial health, I don't have planned in the development phase my kids going through a thing. So I don't have planned in the development stage anybody else getting to the point to where they have a need. I have planned in the development stage building creating the stability so that the financial health of my lifestyle, so the financial health of my family is able to withstand any type of adversity. Once that happens, now if somebody gets into a bind, whatever that looks like, do I mind helping out? Absolutely not. But that's not the driving force behind the financial health that I'm creating, right? So the financial health doesn't involve them. But once it's stable, it could involve them depending upon what is going on. Because I think a lot of times what we end up doing, and I think Adrian probably put that in there, we enable people, right? We do not allow them to learn the lesson that life is trying to teach them at that point in time. So what we end up doing is bailing them out. Therefore, they never learn the lesson, and then chances are they may come right back around and repeat the same type of behavior. So I think we need to understand first what the situation is, and then make the appropriate decision based upon what it is. I'm not telling nobody what to do. That's my thoughts. But at the end of the day, that's just my belief. But again, whatever they're going through, that's not the deciding factor on my financial health, so it doesn't involve it.
Um, is whether or not you loan or give money determined on what they need it for, or are you? Because I'm more on the other side of if Roland reach out to me, he say, "Hey man, I need something." I don't need to know why. I'm going to either give it or either I ain't. You know what I mean? So, or are you guys on the fence of I need to know what you need the money for, or more so on the fence of I don't care if I have it to give, I'm going to give? Because it sounds like based off of you guys' responses, it's based off of more of you're going to make a decision based off of whether or not what they need it for fits within your parameters.
I think in that situation, for one, it depends on the relationship. But if somebody that's responsible calls me and say, "Hey, I need blase split," I'm gonna send it. But if this is a habitual thing, we gotta have a talk because I'm not the banker rolling, and my money it ain't just free like that. And that's why I tell like it depends on how much it is. Like you can't just say, "Hey, I need 3 grand." Like, what we need this for? I need to know, because it's not $500. $500, okay. But if it's, you talking some grand, like, I need to know that. But I'm not questioning a need. Now, if it's an irresponsible party and I know they're irresponsible, you coming in here, you got the new J's, you got the new hair, you got the new butterflies on your eyes and all that, then we gotta have a talk. Like, you spend all your money. I had a friend like that. He would spend all his money, and then first, hey, I need some gas. Okay, go on, take the car, fill up, and give him a little money. A couple times later, I'm like, dude. Then I see him, the family, they busting fresh every week. I'm like, hold, you spending my money on bills and needs, and your money on wants. So no, I had to start saying no.
I think the relationship dictates. I think it was Nick D that said it. Yep. I don't lend money. If I give somebody money, I make sure I tell them I'll give it back. I don't want it back. Just accept it as a gift, right? Because I understand that life happens, and a lot of times, if I expect it back, it might put them in a worse situation than what they were in the beginning when they needed the money. Now, like I said, relationship dictates. If we don't have a relationship, the answer is no. I really don't care what you need it for, because we don't have that kind of relationship. We talk once a month, once every 2, 3, 4, 5 months, and now all of a sudden you need a need. You have a need. Well, trust me, there are people that you're in closer relationship with. I see what you did there. There are people that you're in closer relationship with that you could go to. So that's what I believe. And here's the other side to it. If you have relationships with people who are in the same situation with you, that might be an indicator that you need to inventory your relationships. I'm not trying to be funny, I'm being honest. There is a statistic out there where it says what you make is the sum total of the 5 closest people you hang out with. So at the end of the day, somebody got to be the sacrificial lamb. I'm sorry. And I don't mean that as listen, you can't have the same kind of relationship with 5 people consistently anyway. So really, it's the closest 3 that you have a relationship with. So if you're not up in your game when it comes down to relationship with your social interactions, and understand how that influence you, how your relationship with other people influence them, right? Get to the point to where you be the one that they want to create those relationships with. You see what I'm saying? Because you're making 6 and 7 figures and they're still in, low 5s. There's nothing wrong with that. But there has to be a thing that says, hey, you need to do something different with your life. You coming to me and asking for a handout every time you get to that point is not an indicator that I'm going to do it. Relationship dictates. If we have that close relationship, here you go, bro. I don't have an issue with it. Now, trust and believe, I got to make sure my financial health is in order first. Because if I'm in a situation at that current particular point in time, I already decided when my status changed, there are no loans going out. I'm sorry, no loans. There are no gifts going out, right? Case in point, I give you a perfect example. I just recently started back working. Well, prior to that, I promise you the decision was made. There are no gifts going out. That's not against anybody. It's just me understanding that, look, this need to be just in case something happened between here and there. So that's kind of like my perspective. So when you look at it again, relationship dictates, and outside of those star relationships, we got to have a conversation about that.
I get that. And between the two of you, I got that relationship and the amount. Because I think that's important too. It's different saying, hey man, you want to invest 20 grand in my business? Hey man, you want to buy this t-shirt? I can swing the t-shirt. No question asked. We got to have a conversation about the 20 grand in your investment.
And I think that's the right answer. Like, if you want me to invest in your business, come to me with all the paperwork I need to make an educated decision. I need to see the 5 to 10 year plan. I need to see what the prospectus look like. I need to see the financial goals. I need to see the marketing plan. I need to see who's going to be on the board. Like, you're asking me to be a major investor. You better come with full portfolio. If not, then the answer is no. It's that simple.
I need the same thing the bank need to see.
Exactly. I was just about to say that. You go to the bank and ask for a loan, you're going to give it to them.
Exactly. I need to see the same thing.
Right. Exactly. Don't think just because I eat fried. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, and watermelon.
All right, moving on to the next question. Remember, I put in the chat already if you haven't seen it. Hashtag M324. Hashtag capital M324 for the giveaway. Okay. Next question. What strategies can be used to maintain a focus on financial health over the long term, especially during periods of financial strain or unexpected expenses? I just gave my answer.
It's hard. We did this in the military a lot. Practicing is have a backup plan, have a contingency plan. What happens when stuff hits the fan? What happens when you have an emergency? You know what I mean? I think sometimes people don't budget in an emergency fund, in case stuff, however you want to do it. There are better ways, there are places you can put your money, different things like that. So I would just say, just overall, having a strategy or contingency plan for the what ifs, and when stuff don't happen. I had a certain amount in my emergency plan a few years ago. Then I had an emergency and it wasn't enough. You know what I mean? I think, back in the day when I was really hard into what was that guy? When I was listening to a lot of what's the guy with the 7 steps? The right guy. I don't know, man. The money guy, man, the big money guy that everybody knows. Man, I can't whatever.
Grant Cardone?
Dave
No,
Ramsey.
Ramsey.
Oh, okay.
I was big into the Ramsey and stuff, man. Man, freaking trying to figure out Dave Ramsey's name. I forgot my thought, man. I'm gonna come back to it though.
I think you got to have a plan, and when you have your plan, you plan on what you're spending as well as what you're investing in yourself. Because if you get so people look at people that's strict with money like they penny pinchers, but those people know how to manage what they have. And when you understand self-management and you understand that these things are in the parameter which I'm comfortable, now, hey, I'm comfortable with this amount of money so I can save. And just because you make a little more don't mean you spend a little more. You may just save a little more, put a little more to the side. So and learn about investing. We all need to buy more books on financial responsibility and financial health so that we can know how to make our money work versus just knowing how to spend everything we get, because the TV, the radio, and everything is always targeting us for something. If you say something, you talk about hats right now, once you look at some social media on your phone, you're gonna have hats marketing to you. That's how they do. They have these algorithms that push whatever it is they think is your thing, they're gonna push it to you. So make the plan straight enough for you to discipline yourself at a pace.
Yeah. My quick little finish. Oh.
No, go ahead.
Oh, the quick little part I forgot was the Dave Ramsey. He talked about having a $1,000 emergency fund. I think that's fine, but what if you have an emergency that's over $1,000? So that's why I think that when with this question is having a contingency plan, it could be in the form of having an emergency plan in case stuff happens.
Yeah, I thought, and maybe I could be wrong. I thought the first goal was $1,000. Then the next goal was the 3 to 6 months bring home pay.
Yeah, it was initially. Yep.
Yeah. For me, simple. Just wrap your financial goals into your overall goals. When you do that, then you'll plan for the long term. Okay, I think we got time for one more before we go to the giveaway. Cultivate financial discipline and patience. The question for that is, what are some practical strategies for developing financial discipline, and what challenges might one face in maintaining this discipline over time?
I think if you start small, start at a comfortable level with saving, and start small, and then once you see that grow, then you're like, okay, I can add a little more, and then you get comfortable with it, and it becomes habitual versus you just throwing some money in a pot, in a shoebox, and learn how the bank works, because people don't understand banking and credit cards. Like, if you have a credit card, just because you have a credit card don't mean it's working for you. Yeah, you can spend the money, but use your rewards card, because you can use your reward card for everything, gas, food, and whatever, get triple and everything. And then it pays for your trips, it pays for your hotel rooms, it pays for all that stuff. So you have to know this so you won't be out there spending all your money. You can use the money that you've already used to do the things that you want to do.
Um, there are gonna be different types of people who may watch this podcast. So one thing that some may help some people is setting up like auto pay for some of your bills. Not for everybody, but for some people, this could be a really good strategy, especially when you get your check and you spend. If you already know before you get your check, they've already taken out your mortgage, they've taken out your car payment, they've taken out your Hulu bill, your Netflix, or whatever it is you've taken out. You kind of can manage a smaller portion of your income versus having to manage the entire pie. So for some people, just setting up an automation to pay some of your bills may help with some of this right here. Not for everybody, but for some people, I think it may work.
I'm laughing at that Chipotle bowl conversation. Um, Practical strategies for developing financial discipline. I mean, number one, start. Number two, be consistent. Number three, like I said before, get some help. Number four, plan for the distance, plan for the long haul. If you're creating a budget for something that you want, I would say that can be effective. Not something I recommend. Like whatever you want should fall in line with the budget that you create for your for your lifestyle. So again, budget for the lifestyle, include the wants in the budget so that you can actually see how to get to those things that you want, as opposed to forcing it in there. So that's just kind of how I look at it. Um, so yeah, that being said, listen, we greatly appreciate you guys. Remember, what is it? What I say? M324. You have until the time I bring the screen up and click go. So again, hashtag M324 for the giveaway. So let me change my screen here. All right, can everybody see that? Can you guys see it? All right. M324, and here we go. Only 9 of y'all? Seriously? Come on, man. Chris, congratulations, brother. I will reach out to
Come on,
you
Chris.
just so that you know, Chris just won access to Make Money Master 2024 free giveaway. So congratulations, brother. Again, if you are available tomorrow morning, it'll be good to see you. But by all means, if you are busy, don't worry. Again, I will reach out to you. Um, and we do those periodically. You know, I enjoy doing those. It's fun. I like giving away free stuff. And that being said, um, I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. I hope this conversation was helpful. I hope everybody got something out of it. Since there's only three of us, we're still going to do the single screen, but we're going to start with Unc first, then we're going to go to Roland, then we're going to go for myself for the final thoughts.
All right. Today's topic was budgeting for beginners, simple steps to take control of your finances. As someone who is 48 years old, my evolution through finances has been a rocky road full of bunches of twists and turns and all different things, bunch of different ways. The way that we bank now and the way we handle money now is not how it was when I first started banking at 16 or 17 years old. And with that being said, money and finances is something that is part of everybody's life. So at the end of the day, it is very important that we educate ourselves on the systems, on finances, and as much as we can about finances so we can live the type of lifestyle that we want to live, so that we have money for emergencies, so that if we want to send our kids to college, we can do that, or buy a house, or whatever it is that we want in our life. If we take simple steps, learn information, learn from people, have a budget, learn more about financial literacy, we can then begin to take steps to get us to the final financial health that we want to be in.
Nothing is free in life. So when you write your name, sign your name saying that you will pay whatever debt, make sure your name is always good. Because when you're ducking and dodging people because they want their money that you said you would pay them, then it speaks to your name. So your name follows your credit, and learn how to make your credit work for you, because your credit can be your friend or it can be your enemy. But when you learn how to manipulate it to your benefit, then it's a benefit. And put yourself on a budget, even if it's a small budget. Put yourself on a budget to make sure that you can keep it in something that you're comfortable with, and save. Make sure you're saving something, even if it's $10 a month. Something should be saved every pay period, so that you can get comfortable with that. And then as you learn better and grow, then your savings can grow, and you'll realize that I don't need the savings that just sits in the bank, but I can go into the high yield savings and so forth. That's what happens when you learn more and more about saving and investing versus just putting your money in the shoebox or keeping it in the mattress. Even though I'm with somebody on there said about Fannie Mae or whatever her name was, her father told her to keep money at home. You should always have money in the house and able to spend on little things, so you won't be swiping for everything. So learn how to manipulate your finances so that it encourages you to do more in that realm versus less.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Y'all want to hear my final thoughts? Click that link that's in the show notes right now. See me tomorrow morning at 10:30. Not only will I be giving final thoughts, I'm gonna give some deeper thoughts as we go into this conversation as it pertains to finances. Listen, I want everybody to get. There's enough out there for all of us to eat. So we got to get out of this mindset that there's limitations. There are no limitations. Stop that. Right? We got to get to the point where we have a better understanding. So listen, click on the link in the chat. Enroll into Make Money Mastery 2024. Again, it's free. And I will talk to you. I'm gonna try to keep it less than 2 hours because I don't like talking that long. Listen, that being said, you guys are awesome. We greatly appreciate you. We value you. Remember to hit the like button, share this with somebody who you know and love. Hearts of Men podcast every Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Listen, we'll see you guys next week. Have a fantastic rest of your evening and an awesome weekend. For those of you who are going to join me tomorrow, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. For everybody else who was busy, enjoy your weekend and let the best version of yourself be a blessing to somebody else.